Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
Yo, what's up guys, it is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2017 career mode. And we just had a little chat with Chris there, who's just showing to us that we're falling behind a little bit in the development race. As you can see, they're pretty consistent growth compared to other teams, but we need to really make a step up because the gap has sort of plateaued to the other guys around us. But first of all, I want to thank you for the support on the episode earlier today, and if you did miss it, now do click the card in the top right hand corner of your screen to go check out the race at Bahrain if you have missed it earlier today. But we're going to just do a bit of in detail breakdown of the development so far. So as you can see on the powertrain department, we've not gone for anything yet. I've decided to not get any upgrades on this side because the car doesn't simply need it. It's the third best car for straight line speed. Then in terms of durability, I've already purchased the general wear, which is the first step, which that is already on the car, I believe, and that part is already working quite nicely for us. And also I already purchased the control electronics wear. The next one will probably be the ICE wear because that's the part that also wears out the most out of those 6 elements. But there are a couple of good upgrades there that we do need in the durability path. But then in the chassis one, as you can see, we've purchased the first one, which is the weight reduction on the under tray, and then the worst part of the car, which is here, which I realised is the aero. We're the third worst car on the grid for aeros, so I purchased the front wing upgrade, which should arrive for the next race in Spain after the last race in Bahrain. So hopefully that upgrade arrives because that's the one that I'm banking on the most because we really need to improve the aerodynamics of the car. And then it just hit me how bad we are in the aero department. So we're going to try and improve the aerodynamics of our car in the next few races to really get it up to scratch, especially for the races around Silverstone, Hungary, and Baku, which are these sort of tracks where you do need a bit of downforce through the corners. And we really want to try and compete in them sort of circuits, also Austria and Canada as well. Some really downforce heavy circuits we need to really perform. But as you can see, we're currently in Friday practice here at Sochi, and the preparations are underway for the free practice session, and we're going to try and run through all the practice programs as swiftly as possible, hopefully a bit more smoothly than the last race in Bahrain. But I'm really thankful guys for the support in the series so far. You guys have been absolutely smashing the support, and I can't thank you guys enough for it. And let's see if we can try and maybe smash 200 likes on this episode also. I might go up a little bit late because I can see the episode length being about 30-ish minutes, and that's going to be quite a long upload time, about 6 hours upload time. So this may go up around 9 PM my time, local time, Central European time tonight. But as you can see, we're going to focus now on practice, and we're going to run through some of the programs. And we're currently finishing the track acclimatization, and Sochi, one of the easier tracks to really hit most of the targets and get purple scores on everything, as we get a purple score on the track acclimatization on the soft compound tyres. And then moving on to the tyre wear test, another track where obviously Sochi renowned for its low tyre wear, doing on the super soft compound tyres, and we're going to comfortably smash also the 50 points and get the maximum available points for us, getting the purple score in the tyre wear test. And then we move on to the fuel saving. And once again here, a little bit close, very marginal on the old fuel gauge there, just about getting the purple there through the penultimate corner. And we are just about going to get it purple and get 50 points in the fuel saving challenge there. And with that, we would then move swiftly on to the qualifying performance, which is a test that actually went pretty well for me. Not as good as I thought though, similar to Bahrain. The engine really starting to take a punishment now, and the engine wear is really starting to catch up to me this race. In the last race I did some investigating, and in the last race we basically struggled because of the parts that are worn, especially the parts of the control electronics and the ICE, and the other parts like the MGUH and also the turbocharger are really catching up here this weekend, and we're going to be struggling. But I've noticed that AI are not as fast around here as they were in Bahrain, and I do wonder if possibly they ran fresh power units and fresh components in the last race in Bahrain due to the higher temperatures, just to be safe, and they've brought their slightly more warm components back for this race because the field seems to be a little bit more leveled out around here. But either way, practice comes to an end and we get pretty much purple in everything except for the qualifying performance test, and we're now going to jump into qualifying. And jumping straight into Q1 on the ultra soft compound tyres, we went out for our first run here at Sochi, and I've got to say the conditions were a little bit dodgy in the official time of day because the way the sun was shining, it was actually blocking the view of a lot of the apexes and corners, and I couldn't actually see, so I was getting a few scruffy laps in there. But in the end, at the end of my Q1 lap, as you can see here, we're going to come towards the end of it now, I actually do set a semi-competitive lap time and get myself out of the knockout zone, and it looks like this race we're going to be safe and not drop out in Q1. So for the third time running, we're going to avoid getting out in Q1 there, because the last races, obviously, we dropped down the first part of qualifying, but this one, we do manage to avoid it, and we get comfortably through into the second part of qualifying behind Esteban Ocon, who got a very impressive 8th place there. But speaking of Q2, we're going to jump into it right now, and I'm currently on my first run here in the session, and we just kicked off the lap here, and this is what I mean about the time of day in the sun. The apex for this corner, you just can't see it at the crucial time. You literally can't pick out the apex, and I get my braking all crossed up and I get it all wrong there, and unfortunately that was going to put us on the back foot for the remainder of the session. Currently in last place with only a few seconds on the clock as the flag drops. We've got to make this lap count, so we're going to ride on board now for the entirety of this lap around the Sochi Autodrome now, spotting the 100 meter board on the left hand side, down to 3rd gear, possibly 4th for turn 2 and 3 there, as we now go flat out through the caveat grandstand, the flat out turn 3 section here, and it's easily flat out, shifting up into 8th gear, then drop it 4 gears for turn 4, pick up the apex on the inside there, nice run through there, nice bit of momentum carried through as we now go into turn number 5, another right hand 90-degree corners are basically the trait of this circuit. Running a little bit wide, they're almost hitting the wall on the outside as we now go through the kink of turn 6 into turn number 7, once again 5th gear, possibly 4th if you prefer that, but I like 5th as we now go into turn number 7, I believe, the swooping left-hander, double apex left-hander, and now we go into another 90-degree right hand here, 4th gear, and a nice momentum through, not running it too wide onto the curb, open up the DRS onto the back straight, and so far it's looking like a pretty good and competitive clean lap here so far. So let's try and carry us through towards the end of the qualifying session now. Spot the 100 meter board on the left hand side, down to 3rd gear, possibly 2nd. I use 2nd just to get the nose in, but I'd much rather use 3rd as we now short shift on the exit of this swooping left hander under the bridge, and now over the off camber left hander, which is 90 degree, which feeds into another 90 degree right hander here. So all 90-degree corners around this circuit, and now into the penultimate corner, 4th gear, try and use a lot of the curb, but then don't run it too wide on the exit, keep it within the confines of the track limits, and then the final corner, and here we go then across the line. Have we done enough? Yes, we have, and I think it's P7, and that's going to see us through comfortably into Q3 for the first time since Australia. So there you go, we've finally bounced back after a couple of off races there, which is good to see. And like I said, just justifying I wanted the AR running worn engine components because we've got a bit more pace around here, and critically Esteban Ocon actually got knocked out along with a shock elimination there for one of the Red Bulls. But as you can see, we're now going to run into Q3, and I'm currently on my best lap of the session, which was nothing spectacular, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't my last fresh compound of ultras off tyres, however the rain was scheduled and I ran out really early in Q3 with no reference lap times, and the lap was okay, it's nothing spectacular, and obviously setting purple sectors because nobody had set a lap. I was the first man to do a lap time in Q3, and we'd bring it across the line in the end. And I can tell you that once everyone had done their lap times in the session, we would drop down to P10, and we will be starting the Russian Grand Prix from last place, as you'll see now, official confirmation in a moment's time. But the rain made its presence felt towards the end. I couldn't go out for another run, and that was going to relegate us to that one and only attempt, and it's actually slower than my Q2 lap, so a very disappointing lap there in Q3, but either way, still happy over the fact that I'm the only Force India in the 3rd part of qualifying there, and that's going to be a good one for me to carry over into the race tomorrow. But Bottas on pole there, very different result, Raikkonen in P2, but let's see what we can do tomorrow in the race from P10 on the grid. So let's jump straight into the Russian Grand Prix. Right, so here we are then on the grid for the race at round 4 in Russia, and pretty decent qualifying, better than the last race. And I have noticed, and I'm starting to think now, like I mentioned in qualifying, I just wanted the AI maybe run new engine parts for Bahrain, because they were so fast around there, the majority of them, and those that were going slow were going very slow, like myself. And for this race, it seems to have neutralised a bit, so I wonder if maybe some AI because they've actually opted to run a bit more older engine components from the first 2 races instead, because you see the field seems a little bit more balanced out this race. So it's very unique that, and if there is a feature in the game where the AI sort of also mix and match their parts and they drop off and gain performance respectively, then that is very, very good and impressive, because that really does shuffle up the pack. But we're in P10, we're in a good position, and I do like my odds here today. I think we can get some points today. I think maybe like a P7 or a P8 would be good. And in regards to the race strategy, obviously it's fairly straightforward. A one-stop around Sochi, tyre wear basically is non-existent. The team actually recommended me to underfuel my car by quite a bit based off of the race strategy R&D practice, but I'll put in a bit more fuel just in case, and if I can use a bit of rich mix then I'll use it. But preferably with how warm my engine is, I've got to be careful this race that I don't come across any issues, because I'm going to be going over into the 50% mark and onto the yellow on most of my parts this race, so there's going to be a big risk here today of having a possible issue with the engine or gearbox. But we're going to jump straight into the race now. Hopefully we can try and keep things under wraps. Try and drive nice and smoothly, try and, look after the car, but at the same time be nice and quick around here, and see if we can maybe try and crack a top 8 finish. So without further ado, let's jump straight to the race for the Russian Grand Prix. Right then, here we go. 5 red lights for Russia for round 4 of the season. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go with that 5th light, taking an absolute age to go out, but we're underway here. Grosjean behind on the super subs. We've had a pretty poor start actually off the line. The launch wasn't particularly great. We're going to tuck into some slipstream though and try and make a few moves here. We've got a nice little run on Hulkenberg, hopefully box Grosjean in, and here we go then into the second corner for the first time this race, up the inside of a couple of cars. We're going to go 3 wide into that corner there. Got a Williams going slowly over Lance Stroll, and that's me up into 6th place. So really good start so far. I know Verstappen's down the order in the Red Bull, so he's going to have to make his way through the field, but right now we're pretty much in the best position we can be in terms of best of the rest. Maybe we can crack Massa, who's in P5 there, but I think the top 5 with both Mercedes, both Ferraris and a Red Bull is going to be pretty much untouchable this race, but we can maybe try and race Massa. But right now we've got Stroll all over our rear end, and let's see if we can try and keep up with this pack and see how the car feels in this initial phase in the Grand Prix and try and settle into a little bit of a rhythm here.
Some information on Vettel. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Okay, so Vettel just set our fastest lap of the race, but now he's got a problem with his car, so he could start holding up some of the guys ahead of us here, and maybe, like I mentioned, like I said before, with the AI maybe going back to their older engine parts, maybe they're going to start struggling around here, and I think we're going to be a little bit of unknown territory when it comes to the engine being worn here, so I think there could be a few shocking results and retirements maybe, but that's purely me just, guessing what's going to happen here. But right now things are looking good. The car feels really good, I've got to say, in race pace. The car does feel built for this track, and it's driving very nicely. The car's performing beautifully. The downforce is good. Straight line speed is not too bad. We're not too down on power, and we're taking some very nice gear shifts, not really over-revving the engine, taking it very easy on the tyres, and we're doing the car a world of good by just taking it very easy at the moment and not really worrying out the car pass. But we've got a bit of a battle going up ahead. I think that's Vettel already getting overtaken there by Ricciardo, I think, so Vettel having issues up ahead, and Hamilton's trying to make a move on Massa at the same time, so there could be a few things kicking off here in Sochi very soon. There's Vettel, I think, who's going slowly just ahead of Massa, so we're going to be catching him soon if his issues persist. So let's try and stand the back of these guys, and maybe let's see what happens with Vettel's issues. Okay, so we've caught up to the back of Seb now. Massa's all over the back of him. We've got to be careful because the AI tend to do some weird stuff when they've got issues with the car, so we've got to be very careful because they'll drive a bit strangely and sort of hold everybody up. So we're going to have to drive this very smoothly and take it very easy and try and pick them off one by one here. I mean, I could potentially be in P4 by the end of this scrap, but whether I'll last in that position I don't know. But Vettel seems to be going very slowly in a straight line. Massa's really gaining on him in the straights, so I think Vettel maybe a sitting duck on this back straight now. We've currently got a pretty good lap underneath us. I've just about got DRS away from a Stroll, so he's not my DRS, not anymore. He might be now in this back straight though because I'm getting held up by these guys, but then there's a huge gap to the next car. So here we go then onto the back straight. Vettel does seem to have issues in a straight line as Massa flies past, as does Lewis Hamilton here, and I'm just going to pull to the outside, which will become the inside for the brake zone. Can I match him? Not quite. Vettel's going to still got the inside of Lewis there, so Vettel not having any issues on the braking. It's just merely straight line speed as I almost hit the back of Lewis there. I'm on simulation damage, so I've got to be very careful here. I thought about going up for the dive there on Seb, but I thought better of it. Let's try and maybe get him out of here into the penultimate corner. Are we close enough on the straight? Pull to the inside, up the inside of the German here. Let's just leave him the room on the outside. Take the inside line for the final corner. Come on, there we go. Squeeze it out. There we go. Right, we've got the move done. So we're up into P6 now. I think Seb might have DRS on me. I'm not sure where the detection point is. No, we've got DRS, I think. No, Seb has. So he's going to be battling with Stroll, who's behind us. He's already actually got past him. And look at the speed Stroll's got. So Vettel going backwards here. Maybe he might have missed a gear. That might be the issue here. Maybe he's got a gearbox problem because he might be missing like a 6th or a 7th or an 8th gear, which may be his issue. But we're going to continue on here, see if we can keep up with Massa and Lewis, because Massa's more or less my pace. Lewis is basically being held up by him.
Right, some information on Hamilton. They seem to have an issue.
Oh, okay, so now Lewis has issues with his car by the look of it. So like I said, we could see a race here with a few issues with cars because the engine components are starting to get a little bit old now, so people might be having issues. So Lewis might start dropping off the pace now from Massa, and I might have a chance here of getting past the Mercedes. Like I said, this is why I'm driving so smoothly, because this race really, it's not a race, it's not a sprint, it's just a marathon. You've got to really take it easy here, and if I just take it nice and smoothly, look after my car, I could be a few positions higher than what I expected, and that would be a great result for me. So let's try and catch up to these guys. I'm slowly pulling away from Lance Stroll here. I've got pretty much the exact same identical pace as Felipe Massa. He's not really pulling away from me. The gap's just staying the same. Lewis, though, even with his issues, is still trying to make the move on Massa. So it might not be a major problem on his car. So we're going to continue on here, but I think we can catch these two. Just need to try and hook up a perfect lap, and that should get me within DRS. We've got yellow flags behind though on the back straight. Just saw briefly for a second there, so something's going on further back, but no safety car or virtual safety car. And Lewis actually is going to come in, so whether that's to fix the issue with his car or just a simple tyre change, maybe he's on a two-stop strategy, I don't really know, or maybe to undercut Massa. Either way, that's going to promote me up into P5 now, and let's see if we can try and go at Massa this up, try and get within DRS at least. Okay, so as you can see on the graph, my ICE is now officially yellow. I'm in the 50%, so the control electronics are going to be next on the CE, and then it's going to be the MGUH and also the turbocharger soon. So all these parts of the power unit are going to be struggling. I'm going to probably plan to use them in practice at Spain, and then probably switch them out, and I'll probably use them at Monaco over the race weekend, because that's a track where I can probably get away with using, if not all of them, then some of the parts. So I'll probably use that on my ICE, which is the most worn part at Monaco, because I can then use that for the 5th time, and then I won't have to use that part anymore this season. So it's very interesting, this whole engine wear and how it all works. It's such a curious dilemma, but meanwhile we are slowly catching Felipe Massa here, and right now we've got a few cars in the pit, which is going to promote me up into P4 as Ricardo comes in. I'd be very surprised if it was on a two-stop strategy, but at the same time the tyre wear is average. It's nothing spectacular, it's not good or bad, but I'm still easily on course for a one-stop strategy, so we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing this race and stick to our guns, because right now it's looking pretty good for us at the moment, and I like our chances of getting the top 5 here. We get it all sorted out, and if Hamilton and Vettel's issues persist, then we've got a good odds of getting the top 5 here. So let's keep on going. We are slowly catching Felipe, so let's try and get him. Very interestingly, now Raikkonen's in, he's going to the soft tyres, so I'm guessing all these people that have come for an early stop are still on the one-stop strategy, but they're going for the soft tyre instead of the super soft. So very different strategy from those guys, and maybe the Mercedes and Ferraris just take more out of their tyres, and also the Red Bull of Ricardo, but I'm going to stick to this strategy. I think Massa's doing the exact same thing as me. Lewis has the fastest lap. I'm going to presume he's on softs, but he may well be on supers and on a two-stop strategy. That's the thing, we don't know, but he seems to have fixed his issues if he's doing them sort of lap times. So Lewis seems to have fixed the issues with his car. Whether Vettel has or not, I don't know, but right now we're just still doing our thing. Good lap times, good pace, and we're just waiting for the pit stop window to open. Okay, so Massa pits. I've got a little bit of rich mixture, and Massa may come out in traffic, so I'm going to pit the next lap. So I'm going to crank up to rich, do a rare lap in rich mix, and even though it's not going to help my engine, I'm going to go for it. So we're going to push really hard this lap and try and have a very good in lap here, maybe try and overcut Massa, so let's go for it. Okay, that was a very solid in lap. I'm on for a personal best lap of the race, so that's worked out beautifully for me. So here we go, then let's push this pit entry and try and be nice and aggressive here. So through the penultimate corner, right, let's get the limiter on. There we go. Just about got it slowed down. That was very marginal, but we've got it. So now we're going to wait for the pit entry. Hopefully it all works out for us. We're going to get overtaken by a few cars here. The question is, who will it be? There's Bottas. He's gone by, and we're going to have a pit stop now. Get the clutch in. Let's go, let's go, let's go. 2.9. Not a great pit stop. It's not going to help us, but let's see where Massa is. That's who we're racing. So can we overcut Felipe? Here comes Van Dorn. Palmer's the next one, so come on, come on. I'll get to the pit limiter line. There's Massa, so Massa's overcut me by quite a bit. Sorry, undercut me, so he's still miles ahead. We're going to have to race here to stay ahead of Lance Stroll by the look of it, so let's get our foot down. Lance is right there behind us. I think we're going to rejoin just ahead of him. There we go, right, so overcut didn't really work. The supers must have a nice bit of grip if Massa's gained that much time on me, and he's had to overtake Verline in the process. So let's get our foot down now. Let's try and push a little bit on these tyres. We've got plenty of life left in these. We can lean on these as much as I like, so let's go for it. Engine wear, meanwhile, is not great. 2 components now on the yellow, so we've got to be very careful here. Right, Ricardo's just come in for another stop. Vettel's behind me, set the fastest lap, so Ricardo must have been on another ultra soft, so that's going to promote us another place. And right now, I don't know where we are in terms of net position, because I don't know who's ahead of Massa, but right now we're in P8, so that's going to be very interesting. We've got a little few cars catching. I think there's a Haas catching up Stroll behind me, so we could be in for a little bit of a battle soon, and the field is starting to tighten up a little bit. At the same time, we couldn't be any more spread apart in terms of who's where in terms of strategy.
Right then, some information on Massa. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Okay, so now Massa's got a problem with his car. Meanwhile, I can feel I'm losing engine power. I don't know what it is. I don't know what part of the car it must be, but I feel like I'm down on power. Like I'm struggling to hit 8th gear now. So that's very interesting. I think I'm going to guess it's probably the IC now starting to really hurt me. The internal combustion engine is not giving me the grunt that I need. But also, I mean, look at that. I mean, the MGUH you know, the turbocharger's on 47%, so I'm basically half down on power, so we are struggling at the moment, and I think very soon we could be overtaken by Stroll and the Ferrari that comes with him, which is Sebastian Vettel. I mean, look at the speed they've got in a straight line. I'm going to be struggling here, I think. Oh, Valtteri Bottas out of the race. We've got a virtual safety car, so that is very interesting there. VSC here, Bottas out of the race. That's going to promote me a position, and I was catching Massa. I just did a personal best for a sector, so that was pretty good pace. But here we go, we're under VSC now, so got to be careful with the new Delta. First VSC of the season here, so let's take it easy. There's Bottas on the left-hand side, so he must have had a car failure. Like I said, this track, people seem to be struggling with the engine and also gearbox components, unlike the last race where I think we basically had a pretty okay-ish race. I mean, like, I think we was running the Morris worn engine, whereas they are running fresh components, and you can really notice it. But either way, VSC ending. Let's just slow down a little bit here before I break the speed limit. Here we go, we're green again, so let's push on now. Let's try and catch these guys. Opted not to go to lean mix there. I'm just going to crack on in standard. Let's try and push now, see what I can do. Engine is starting to struggle now, but I think everybody's engines are struggling, so in a way the field is sort of levelling out a bit. But I'm up into 5th place now, so, and I've also got car in the pit lane, so that's Carlos Sainz, so that's going to promote me up into 4th place. So Massa's on for a podium, and he's got issues with his car. Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel is right behind me here, and he's got DRS wide open, so here he comes. I'm going to let him have the inside. I'm going to squeeze him a little bit, not make the move too easy for him. He's going to make up the move up the inside. I'm going to try and switch back underneath him here, pick up the traction. Let's try and sit behind him through here. This is going to make my car overheat, which isn't ideal, but I'm going to sit behind Sebastian. A little bit of dirty I can feel just sort of sending me out wide, but let's try and follow Sebastian. He might bring me up to the back of Massa much easier if I can just stay within DRS, but I feel like Sebastian is just a bit too quick. Okay, so Vettel's got past Massa, and now I'm right on the back of him here, so we're going to have an opportunity of getting past Felipe on the pitch straight. So let's just set ourselves up for a nice, simple overtake here. Vettel fast up at the Grand Prix. He's absolutely on it now. His car issues seem to be absolutely resolved, so whatever issue he had is now completely fixed. But here we go, in the top of Massa, open up the DRS. I might have a lot of straight line speed, but I've got enough to make the move on Felipe here. He's going to move a little bit to the inside, but I'm still going to go to it anyway. Let's try and make the move on the brakes, up the inside of turn 1. Can I pull it off? Yes, I do. Very nice move there. Nice bit of traction. And there we go. We're up into 4th place now. So we are making progress. We've got 3 cars behind us there. And one of them is a Red Bull. I can't tell it's Ricciardo or Verstappen. But this 4th place may not be guaranteed. We've got to try and find some pace here as I cut that corner a little bit. But let's try and get a move on here. Let's hopefully Massa hope that he can hold them guys up a little bit. I need to really push now. That's now the 3rd part. That's yellow. The MGH has just jumped up to yellow. So the engine is starting to get really worn here.
The end of the life on these control electronics. Try to stay off the curbs and other rough surfaces.
Wow, okay, so even the engineer's saying now I've got to start taking it easy. So they've got to be careful now with the curbs. Okay, so Verstappen is now on the back of me. He's within DRS. Stroll is also, I think, within DRS of Verstappen, but he's too far back. I'm trying to drive cautiously now. My lap times have dropped a little bit. I'm trying to stay off the curbs, like Jeff said. So just trying to respect what he said to me as an order, because my car is starting to struggle now, and I'm starting to have a few issues. And now Stroll is on the back of me as we lose the place of Verstappen there, down to P5. Oh, if we get this car home, I'll be very happy, but we are going to limp home. Okay, now the turbocharger's gone yellow. The car is struggling now. We've got to be very careful. We're going to be down on power as well, because the turbocharger is what gives you the major grunt. This is what makes the Mercedes power unit so special. So we're going to be struggling now. Okay, this time Stroll is very close to me. He's got DRS wide open here. He's going to try and make the move, I think. I'm just going to park my car in the middle of the track, and he decides to not go for it instead. He backs out of it. I lock up the left front on the entry here. Just starting to really struggle now. We've got a yellow flag behind, I think. So something's happened behind us, I think. From what I can tell, no one stopped those. So maybe just a precautionary yellow flag. But either way, we're going to continue on here. Okay, through the front corner. On to the last lap of the race now. If I drop through the field here, all these cars, if they overtake me, I'm going to drop out of the point. So I've got to be very careful. Stroll is very close to me this time on the pitch straight here. He's going to have DRS. I think he could go for a move here. I'm going to go defensive early on because he's got the run on me this time. So let's go to the inside. Can I get it on the brakes? I've got to avoid the curbs at all times if possible. Stroll's made the move right on the outside though, and he's pulled it off. Absolutely fantastic. Fair play to him. That's a great move. And now we've got to defend for our life on this last lap of the race here. I'm trying to take easy to the car, but I think I might just hammer it this final lap here because it's going to be the last race I use some of these components for anyway. So I might as well just try and just really push the car here. But Stroll's made the move. Let's try and stick with him. I can maybe overtake him in the second DRS zone if I stay within a second. So Let's filter the car through the second sector here. Try and stay within a second of Lance. Also using the high gears just to try and minimise the damage to the car. Stay off those curbs as much as I can. And at the same time try and find maximum time. Raikkonen wins again, the fourth race in a row for him. I've run a little bit deep there, which isn't going to help me. Luckily I've got DRS to defend from the cars behind, which is going to be critical. Here comes Hulkenberg. I've got DRS on Stroll. He's going to come alongside me here. Nico Hulkenberg on the last lap. I've got a nice run on Lance Stroll though, who's going to blink the latest into the brake zone. I'm going to take the inside line, second gear. Hulkenberg still on my outside. I'm going to go around the outside of him there. Oh, that's very nice. Very nice defensive move there. And I think I'm going to bring it home in P6 this race if I can just nurse these final few corners with my damaged car. Here we go then. Let's bring it home. Engine is looking severely worn now. Alright, come on. Oh, I've run a bit hot into there. IC's on 59%. One more corner to go. And P6 I think is going to be for the Russian Grand Prix. And I will take that. That was a very tense race. Really trying to manage the car there. That was very intense there. But we pulled it off. We pulled through. And the car survived. And we didn't have any major scares that race. So very nice there. Just had to take a little bit easy in those final laps on the car, but we only lost one place out of a possible 5 or 6, and we still got some good points here today, finishing in P6. So overall, a very good race and one that I thoroughly enjoyed. And Russia's actually a pretty good track with these 2017 cars. I'm not going to lie, but Raikkonen wins again, 4 in a row. This guy, I don't know where he's found his form from, but the guy is absolutely unstoppable as I'm getting called here. So I'm just going to mute that for a second. So yeah, as I was saying, just absolutely unstoppable form there from Kimi Raikkonen. And as you can see, we're going to come home in P6, and not too bad there. We just managed to fend off Hulkenberg at the end, but that was a very enjoyable race. And wow, Raikkonen, I still can't believe it. He's on a mission at the moment. But the next race is going to be Catalonia, so we should have an upgrade on the front wing coming for that race, and also we should have some nice fresh engine components. So overall pretty good. I'm keeping it on 105 difficulty for now. I'm going to try and put it up to 110 for Monaco, so we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, we're now going to move into the final race results. Right, so there we have it. These are the final race results, and I come home in P6 with Esteban Ocon in P9. So both four seniors getting points once again. Kimi Raikkonen absolutely unstoppable, winning yet again this season, and he really had the pace here today. Lewis Hamilton can only muster P2 with Sebastian Vettel running off the podium there, with Lance Stroll very good P5 for him, just behind Max Verstappen, and the Hulkenberg, Magnussen and Ocon all scoring good points behind myself, and then Ricciardo rounding up the top 10 in the Red Bull. So disappointing race for him there, with Bottas out of the race. And then looking at the drivers' standings, you can see that Raikkonen is leading the way by 41 points over Sebastian Vettel, with Max Verstappen in P3, and Lewis Hamilton has overtaken me for P4 in the Drivers' Championship. Ocon staying in P8 there, with Ricciardo dropping down to P6, and I actually overtake Ricciardo this race, but because of Hamilton I stayed put where I was. But me and Ocon scoring solid points of Force India there, and looking at the constructors, we're going to hold on to P4 quite comfortably ahead of Williams, and now quite a bit behind Mercedes. But overall, that has been this episode of Career Mode here at Russia, and Spain is going to be the next circuit, but I believe we have a classic event coming up next with Jonathan, so we're going to jump into that right now.
Nothing like being trackside at a Grand Prix. Change of direction on these things is insane. I own a single-seater that I take club racing, but comparatively speaking, it's like a kid's pedal car. Speaking of pedals, I need to borrow your right foot again. We have invitations to 2 more historic events, and we've got to choose one. So, take your pick.
Right, so here we are then for our classic event, and driving the McLaren MP46 from the 1991 season, an absolute classic car, and one that I cannot wait to drive. And we've got basically, as you can see on the screen right now, we've got a complete target amount of laps, 3 laps around the circuit under the 3-minute 52 benchmark. So the first time I'm ever driving this car, which is going to make it very complicated, but we're going to give it a good old crack here and see how this car feels. I believe we're sitting on the hill down towards the final corner, so I'm going to get a rolling start, I'm going to guess, and we've got to basically floor it and try and do 3 time laps in the quickest time possible. So I'm very much looking forward to driving this car, and let's see how this beast handles. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it here. Okay, so here we go then. I thought I'd use cockpit view for this one to try and change it up a little bit, really get that immersion feel of these older cars. So here we go then. Let's try and do what the challenge asks from us, and try and see if we can handle this beast. Oh wow, this sounds incredible, and it feels pretty damn good, letting it rev up all the way to the max. Oh wow, let's have a little listen to this car. Wow, that is incredible. Revving out right to the max. Right, we've got to run on this guy. I'm going to sit behind him for now. I'm not going to go for a reckless dive just yet. I'll wait a little bit longer and I'll try and make the dive into the first corner possibly. Getting a good exit out of there using fourth gear. There we go. Look at the speed. Look at the acceleration. I don't think this car had a turbo, but wow, it's got some bloody brilliant straight line speed. And we've gone past that 92 Williams, and now we're behind the 95 Ferrari, a car that's 4 years newer than this one with the innovation. That Ferrari's got a V12. This one also a V12 power. So very interesting differences here. Can we get them on the brakes? Yes, we can. Very nice. All a bit hot into there at first gear just to get the nose in. Screw out the power on. Got 50 seconds to go to finish this lap. I think it's going to be close, but I think we can do it. It's going to be very close, but I think we'll just do it with about 5 seconds to spare, I reckon. This car is absolutely fantastic to drive. Here we go. We've got about 10 seconds to go now. It's going to be very, very close. We're going to have to be very good for the final corner here. Use all the curb. Come on, get the power down. Can we make it to the line in time? It's going to be very close. Do we make it? Yes, we do. Just by 2 seconds. Absolutely bottled the final corner there, but we just made it. And wow, these challenges are actually really fun. The other one we did the other day was actually really close, overtaking a car on the last lap. So there you go. We've absolutely pulled it off. And just about 2 seconds to spare, we've done it. But overall, guys, this is going to wrap things up for this episode of Career Mode. If you have enjoyed it, then please do smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. And please check out these videos on screen right now if you have missed them. And yeah, guys, I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video very soon. So from me, goodbye.